The following is a transcript between Matías De Stefano, referred to as me, and his higher self, referred to as I am, originally recorded on January 1st, 2021, under the constellation of Capricorn in the mental week, examining through the crown chakra. Me. The first day of the year 2021 finds us beginning the mental week of the Atlantean month of Capricorn. Yesterday, we explained that the year really ends on December 21st with the solstice, but that ancient traditions celebrated this end of the cycle for 10 days, what they call the Saturnalia festivities. This culminated on December 31st, where the god of Janus was honored, a two-faced god who looked like the past and the future. Jano gives its name to the month of January and announced the return to work after the holidays. Saturn was the god of agriculture, and because it was winter, he was honored to give good harvest after the scarcity of cold. Once celebrated, the fundamental tasks of Saturn continued. Work. And in case there is any doubt, this is the key that makes Capricorn. I am. Saturn is ruler of Capricorn. Tilling the earth gives rise to the word labor. Labor. A task that ancient slaves performed under the pressure of a three-pronged whip that in Latin is unified as tripilium, originating the word work. Me. I work as punishment and labor as a sowing necessity. I am. The word work has a connotation of guilt, pain, slavery, something very characteristic of Capricorn energy. Me. It's true. As a Capricorn rising, I can tell what it feels like. It's like it's never enough. It's always seeing the negative, the fact of not being enough, of not feeling deserving, that you have to do hard work to achieve your goals, to sacrifice, to get your hands dirty in the dirt in order to get good results, and to have patience to see the fruits grow. I am. It is never enough. Could be translated as, you can always improve. In this way, we can take the positive aspect of this sign that will accompany us for 30 days. Humans today live in a society that no longer has physical slaves, but psychological ones. Most of humanity is a slave to a system that they themselves uphold. It is dependent on ties, controlled by need. Globalizing competition has planted the seeds of inefficiency in all corners of the world where they fight to be better. And in a world with so much potential, competing to be the same thing, the frustration is rampant. Me. Yeah, it feels like no matter what you do, there is always someone who is doing it better. The competition to achieve goals is such that instead of making us grow and develop our abilities, we spend more energy looking at what others are achieving and seeing if what I do is worth it. It has happened to me many times that when I see the things that others have achieved, I look at myself and I feel as if I have not done anything. And of course, then, there are many people who tell me everything that I have achieved and I have done, and perhaps they also observe me as I observe others who have achieved so much. But that feeling is still there. I can do better. I am the tireless Capricorn who does not stop thinking about work, about solving things, about improving himself, about building on increasingly stronger foundations. Well, what Capricorn seeks the most is the security that what he is doing will be useful. You can imagine the sign as an architect who will want to build the tallest building of all to have the best view of all, but each new story he adds, instead of making him feel closer to heaven, makes him feel insecure about his foundation. Wondering if it's reinforced well enough. What if I need to add more weight to the base? And if I distribute it with some buttress? And if I put a hexagonal arc? Will the base be wide enough? What if it isn't and the building collapses? Me, the building will never finish. I am, and you will never be able to take in the views because you're so focused on foundations. That is why It is slow in the process because he is afraid of ending something badly and prefers to never finish it but to make it perfect. Capricorn is the king of structures. Me. What are structures? I am. Structures come from the Latin struttiere, which means to gather or to pile up. Union is strength, and Capricorn is strengthened in such unions. What unites are patterns. Patterns come from the Indo-European pater, which means to defend, and gives rise to the word father. A pattern, therefore, is a piece of data that provides security. Me. Who? I am to the mind. Every living thing needs to feel safe. Security is produced in the balanced exchange of energies and in the confirmation of stable structures to be on a physical level, like the house, on an emotional level, like a family, or on a personal and mental level, like a belief. Thus, in the search for security, the mind looks for patterns, external concepts that can be interpreted as containment shields against the fragility of being. Patterns are ideas, perceptions, beliefs that only live in the mind and that limit the mind for its own good. The mind seeks to save itself, protect itself from infinity, delimit itself to recognize itself in life. Thus, throughout this construction of loose ideas, hereditary patterns are created, shields of limiting beliefs that generate security for the being. Me. This is why it's so difficult to free oneself from belief patterns, because they are precisely to defend the being. So, if they are born with a useful purpose for life, why do we all seek to eliminate or transcend them? I am. Because you can't live locked up in a house. You need to go out to look for food, to interact with others, to discover the world, to grow, to expand, to feel. Another of the wills of the mind is to expand and assimilate new data. It always seeks to achieve this, but if the pattern it has created are many, they can generate a disaster for their development. Me. It reminds me of beavers. Perhaps the Capricorn aspect is like a family of beavers who take ideas from the trees by cutting them down and molding them into patterns that will create a dam in the fluid mind that is a lake or river. The dam of accumulated patterns in the form of this structure is positive for creating burrows and subsisting safely, but at the same time it helps many other species to live off the water, such as frogs, birds, fish, and many others that find an oasis thanks to the dam. However, it can prevent the flow of said waters to lower lands where droughts and death occur, where life does not advance because it has stagnated. I am. That's right. The blackout created by the patterned dam gives a feeling of security within, but damages and destroys everything outside, beyond the mind. Therefore, when it rains hard, you need to make your structure more flexible so that it does not create an environmental chaos. Me. And what would the rain be? I am. The awakening of consciousness. The flow of information awakening in you, which suddenly arrives like an instant of illumination, which pours a lot of new content into you. Me. And how do I make the structure more flexible? I am. Coherence. And the same is achieved through the most original structure of all, the universal structures. Me. The laws. I am. At the beginning of Atlantis as of civilization some 15,000 years ago, some priests received a rain of consciousness that made them see that the universe is a network of patterns called the matrix. The creative matrix is nothing more than an internal fabric of ideas that structure limits for the cosmos. They understood that the universe needs these network patterns to be able to manifest itself focused on a specific time and space, since otherwise nothing could manifest itself as free and flexible. The structures are those geometries that gave meaning to life. As such, without them, nothing would exist. Then they began to follow the repetitive codes of the patterns in the mineral, animal, vegetable, human, and universal kingdom, and they were able to discover that the matrix arranges its patterns into 6 main ones that are essentially repeated on all levels. Therefore, they recognize that they are not simply patterns or structures, but laws. Me. What does law mean? I am. Law comes from the Indo-European leg, which you see in the words legacy, legislate, school, intelligence, and that means choose, choice. In a certain way, the Latin concept lex refers to things that are chosen or specified so that something works, and for this reason it has been translated as rules or norms to follow. Me. And what are those 6 laws? I am. From the point of view of humanity, you know them as generation, polarity, cause and effect, rhythm, vibration, and correspondence. All of them within the law of the mission that refers to the patterns, and the law of networks that refers to the matrix. Me. But according to Thoth, the Atlantean priest known as the Egyptian god of writing, medicine, and architecture, on the emerald tablets, he wrote that there were 7 laws. What is the 7th? I am. There are several laws, but what you call the 7th is not the 7th, nor is it the 1st. That law is all laws. Well, it's the only one that really exists. I am. When the ancient investigated the patterns, they realized that at all levels, the 6 laws are constant in each pattern of the matrix, but they all had something in common. They were a perception. Me. A point of view among themselves? I am. And a perception can only tell you something, that nothing really exists in the universe, nor are there laws, because reality depends on the observer, and the observation is the act of receiving data that will be processed by the brain in the world of ideas, and then the only thing that exists is the world of ideas. Me, as Plato said. I am. Plato did not say anything new, he only taught what others had shown him before. For the ancients, the 6 laws that encompass the pattern and the matrix are a kind of guide to know how to move within the mind, which is the only thing that exists. Me. And where else can one get lost? I am. The mind is infinite, eternal both in time and space. It has no limits, and therefore its observation is infinite and modifiable. Imagination is capable of manifesting realities through intention. It is capable of making you feel things that are not there. And what is there is only perceived by the same mechanisms of your imagination. Me. That is what seems very strong to me, that for the brain, perceiving the real external world and perceiving the fictitious internal world is the same. In other words, for the mind, there is no difference between real and illusionary. I am. That is why we live the dream of a dreamer. Something inconceivable for Capricorn, and therefore the earthly mind of Saturnalia turned the free mind into a law, the only universal law, mentalism. Me. What establishes mentalism? I am. That everything that exists is mine, and that everything you perceive is a mental interpretation, and that it is impossible to establish what is true, since the only true thing is the mind. The power of the waves generated by your thought can make an electron behave like a wave or a particle, changing all the laws of physics. In this way, not even the laws of physics are an anchor to describe what is real, but rather they describe the regulations between the object composed of particles when they decide to behave as such. Thus, mentalism reminds us that in order to really have power over reality, one must learn to use the mind. Cultivate it with meditation, study, silence, music, laughter, emotions, experiences, imagination, creativity, art, and philosophy. Me. The mind is only sowing and harvesting the field of the being, and from there everything is manifested on a mental, emotional, and physical level. I am. Your beliefs and thoughts define who you are and shape the environment in which you live. Transforming your beliefs, changing your point of view, broadening your vision, enriching yourself with other perceptions, all of this makes your mind a fertile field to create new realities. The world is how you see it. You yourself are what you think of yourself. All other laws arise from the mind. Open your mind and you will find the universe. Me. These days, I suppose that we will go through the laws of the universe as well. I am. That's right. Well, they are the basis of all structure. If you understand the universal laws, you will be able to lay strong foundations for this building that you are building. Me. Climbing the stairs to higher floors from where I can see everything with greater distance and contemplation. I am. Remember, the greatest ocean of existence is mind, and its currents are imagination. Imagine, and you will be able to reach the divine. Me. I am imagination, and therefore I can imagine myself in a new reality. But it's not that simple, because no matter how hard I think, I cannot change many things. I am, because, my friend, you live between patterns and matrices. In order to be useful and use mentalism, the ability to transform things with ideas, you must first become aware of your patterns and the matrix in which you find yourself submerged. And then you must realize the laws that hold you prisoner. Know where they are holding you, and begin to use them correctly and coherently, and only then will you discover the divine mind. Me. Of course it happens that I always hear you say, change your way of thinking and you will change the world. And many of those cliché phrases, which are very beautiful but cannot be put into practice because doing so does not work. I am. Precisely for this reason, we do not speak of mentalism in Pisces, but in Capricorn, because to make that phrase become a fact, it is necessary to work hard, follow the steps, till the land of your consciousness, and get down to work on a process that can take a long time. You don't dig a well and find apples. You must understand that for everything there is a time, a process, a few steps. Me. Patience. You can always improve. I am. Welcome to the Capricorn mind. Me. I am mind. I am. I am law.